Hey guys, it's Rachel. Welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be building my version of the Impossible Tiny House Challenge that has been making its way around YouTube lately. I've seen a lot of popular Sims YouTubers do this challenge over the last week or so. It was created by Sim Guru Frost, which is really hard to say, but he's a community moderator for The Sims 4. And Lil Simsy was the first person to do this challenge, followed by Urban Sims and Miss Griffey. And then I also saw Plumbella do this challenge, and after that I completely lost track because it feels like every Sims YouTuber out there made their own version of this Impossible Tiny House Challenge. But I watched the challenge videos from the 4 YouTubers that I mentioned by name, and I'll be linking their videos in the description box below if you want to watch them do it. But the rules of this challenge were that you had to build a tiny house with just 32 tiles of interior space to work with, and it had to fit 3 Sims, being 2 parents and a child. It had to be under 12,000 simoleons, you couldn't use any debug objects, and you had to have move objects turned off for the entirety of the build. You could not turn move objects on, and this last rule made me lose my mind when I first began building this house, because I don't know about you guys, but I have actually never ever even attempted to build anything with move objects turned off. It's pretty much always the first thing I do whenever I open my build file. I turn cheats on and then I turn move objects on. And since I've never tried building anything without move objects on, I never truly knew how much you couldn't do without it. Like, I knew that objects couldn't intersect and they couldn't be on top of each other, but I didn't realize that plants had to be basically like a whole foot away from the wall. And what you're seeing on the screen right now is actually my second attempt at building this house, because I didn't record my first attempt at all, and now I kind of wish that I did, so that you guys could see me struggle with the floor plan and frantically place objects and try and fail to move them closer to each other, and just trying in general to make it not look too awkward. But what's past is past. I don't have any footage of that. So what you're seeing here is my second attempt. My first attempt actually took me a couple of hours because I kept trying different things and I couldn't make up my mind about anything basically. But my second attempt that you're seeing here is a lot more straightforward because I kind of already know what works and what doesn't. And I think that another reason why my first attempt took so long was that I really wanted to add another layer of difficulty and make it base game only. That lasted like maybe 20 minutes at most. It didn't take me very long to figure out that using only base game items for this build was not going to work for me, because I kind of had a very specific style in mind and I knew what I wanted the interior of this house to look like. And I just don't think that I could have made it look the way that it does with only base game items, although that is definitely something I want to do more of in the future. I really want to make more base game only and limited pack builds, kind of as a challenge to myself, but also because I know a lot of people play with just the base game or with very few packs installed, and I actually just got all the packs that I have very recently, so I definitely know the feeling when I see a build I really like but can't download it because it has way more packs than I do. But I think that this build could maybe actually be considered a limited pack build because it only uses a handful of packs, and within each pack that I used, I actually only used a couple of items from each pack, if that makes sense. Like, the counters that I'm about to put down are the only things that I used from Jungle Adventure, and then the mirror that I put above the counters is the only thing that I used from Seasons. And I guess I could just list where everything comes from because it's really not a long list. But the dining table and chairs that you'll see in a second, as well as the tile flooring, are from City Living. The windows, I believe, are from Get Together. The calendar that I put down next to the fridge and the wooden flooring are both from Cats and Dogs. And then the black and white photographs that I put in a little bit later in this video above the single bed are from Discover University. The kitchen appliances that I currently have in the kitchen are base game, but I actually switched them out for the ones from Cool Kitchen towards the end of this build because I somehow ended up with a little bit of extra money, which was super surprising to me, and I decided to use that extra money towards upgrading the kitchen appliances because I really wanted the kitchen to look a little bit nicer. I think that the base game appliances that I currently have look a little bit outdated compared to the rest of the kitchen, so I used the extra money that I had to upgrade them. And then here I am about to work on the bedroom in this house. I decided to put the parents' bed and the child's bed in the same room, and obviously this isn't an ideal arrangement, but I think that if I were to separate the parents' and child's bedrooms, this house would be extremely crowded, so I ended up sacrificing privacy for comfort. And I also made this house a mini split level house, and I did that mostly so that the bedroom could feel a little bit more separated from the kitchen area and the bathroom, since there are no real doors on the inside of this house. As you can see, the bedroom is just barely separated from the kitchen by an archway door, and it's divided from the bathroom by a spandrel. I originally had another archway door into the bathroom, but I replaced it with the spandrel because move objects off wouldn't allow me to place that single bed where it currently is when there was a door to the bathroom. Plus, I think it's kind of a win-win situation in the end because I believe that the spandrel is free, whereas the archway door definitely costs, I think, at least 100 simoleons. And by the way, I chose to use the archway door and a spandrel instead of real doors that can open and close because since this house is so tiny to begin with, I didn't want it to feel too boxed in, and I imagine that if you were to stand inside this house, it would feel a little bit more open and bigger with these doors compared to with real doors. And then right here, I'm trying to figure out what flooring I want for the bedroom. I decided I wanted to keep the wooden flooring, but still wanted a rug of some sort. I didn't like any of the rugs we have in the game for this bedroom, so I made my own rug out of this geometric carpeting that I believe is base game. I'm actually not sure. I'll have to pay more attention the next time I see that. But I initially had this weird triangular shape for the shape of the rug. I changed it back to just a rectangular shape a little bit later. And just a moment ago, as you probably saw, I put down a TV stand with a nice little TV on it because I really wanted the Sims living in this tiny house to have some sort of entertainment available to them inside the house. But you'll see in a second when I'm trying to do the front yard, I completely ran out of money. So I had to switch out the TV I currently have for a cheaper, boxier one. And then I decided it didn't really look like it fit into this house because the rest of the furnishing looks much, much nicer. So I just deleted the TV and the stand altogether. And as I mentioned earlier, I ended up with around 1,000 extra simoleons at the very end of this build. And oh my gosh, I'm realizing now that that definitely came from deleting the expensive TV that I had. But at the time, I actually thought about putting the TV back in. And then I realized that TVs are surprisingly expensive in this game. Like 1,000 simoleons only gets you a super boxy old TV that I don't even think you can buy in a store in real life anymore because they're just so outdated. And all the nicer looking TVs are several thousand simoleons, so I still couldn't put in a TV that I wanted with the extra money that I had at the end of this build, so that went into kitchen appliances instead. I kind of wish that I put in one of the cheaper laptops instead of upgrading the kitchen appliances so that the Sims living here could still fill their fun need without leaving the house, but I guess that might be motivation for your Sims to leave the house for once. I don't know, I just know that whenever I'm trying to play my legacy file, everyone just stays in the house, which is kind of super boring. I'm really bad with using the community lots, but maybe not having a laptop or a TV in this house will actually make you feel like your Sims need to leave the house. Or, you could totally just put in a TV or a laptop if you want. But anyways, we are coming up on the end of this video. Thank you guys so much for watching today. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more of my speed builds, please consider subscribing to my channel. Thanks again, and bye!